Good day, I'm Rainier and Rodriguez, and we are here to present a video report about digestive and excretory system. Now, let's focus on human digestion. You're a human being and you want to know how your body does all this stuff, and humans have an all-purpose digestive system. Now, the digestive system has 5 topics to discuss. The first is surface to the max, which I will discuss. And the mouth esophagus will be discussed by Jason Magbanwa. And the stomach will be discussed by Paulo Estopigan. And the small intestine by Sean Dionisio. And large intestine by PJ Rodriguez. Now, how to maximize the surface area? Now, the secret to successful digestion is maximizing surface area. The human chewing is key because breaking down our food into smaller and smaller bits allows enzymes and acids to get in them and after our teeth have made this bit small enough, the chemicals break them down further until they are enough for bodies to absorb nutrients. Now, the surface area of the digestive system is key to the whole process. We all have bunches of surface area in our lungs. Our lungs, which is discussed in the circulatory system, and again, we are discussing about the digestive system. Now, most of the absorption of the nutrients happen in our small intestine. This is the small intestine. And the small intestine has about 7 meters. 7 meters. It is approximately 23 feet. That's 23 feet. But the digestive system does not start in small intestine. It starts in this mouth. The mouth esophagus, which will be discussed by Jason Magbanwa.
Good day, I am Jason Magbanwa, and today I will be discussing about the digestive process in the mouth towards the esophagus. In the mouth process, there comes ingestion, and then there is mechanical digestion. An example of this is salivary amylase. And then there is initiation of propulsion, mastication, or also known as chewing. And then there is the pharyngeal processes. Deglutition, which means swallowing. There are 2 types of this, the voluntary buccal phase and the involuntary pharyngeal esophageal phase. Lastly, there is esophageal processes. Peristalsis or rhythmic contractions. These are involuntary.
The small intestine also has a thin layer, so inside, like the width inside, is big enough for the food to flow over, and it is folded so it may process properly. A big amount of food we eat. So if we eat a lot more than the average food we eat, sometimes we get stomach pain, or it may occur some infections or disease. It has a 3 parts. First, we have the duodenum, the jejunum, and the ileum. These are the 3 parts of the small intestine.
Good afternoon, I'm PJ Rodriguez and I'll be discussing about the large intestine. So, for large intestine, it is the final section of the gastrointestinal tract that performs the vital task of absorbing water and vitamins while converting digested food into feces. Although shorter than the small intestine in length, the large intestine is considerably thicker in diameter, thus giving its name. So here's the large intestine, and what it does is it reabsorbs water and maintains the fluid balance of the body and absorbs certain vitamins. Then it processes undigested material such as fiber. Then it stores waste before it's eliminated through the anus. And some additional info for the large intestine. It is about 1.5 meters long and consists of the cecum, appendix, colon, and rectum, which are distributed in the abdominal cavity.
From the woman's capsule to the loop of hand. The proximal convoluted tubule, also known as PCT, is formed by one layer of epithelial cells with long apical microvilli. PCT reabsorbs about 65% of the glomerular filtrate and returns it to the blood. There are two routes of PCT. The first one is transcellular route, and then there's paracellular route. Paracellular transport refers to the transfer of substances across an epithelium by passing through the intercellular space between the cells. On the other hand, transcellular transport, where the substances travel through the cell, passing through the apical membrane and basolateral membrane. Now we go to the mechanisms of the PCT. First is the solvent drag. Then there's active transport of sodium. There's secondary active transport of glucose, amino acids, and other nutrients. Secondary water reabsorption via osmosis. Secondary ion reabsorption via electrostatic attraction. And then there's endocytosis of large solids.
The excretory system, or also called as the urinary system. The urinary system, or the excretory system, whatever you call it, has 5 topics to be discussed. The first topic is homeostasis and osmoregulation, will be discussed by myself, Rino Rodriguez. The uric acid will be discussed by Sean Junicio. The kidneys, which involves nephron, will be discussed by Paolo Estupigan. The glomerulus, Brownman's capsule, proximal convoluted tubule, will be discussed by Jason Magbanwa. And the ureters, bladder, and urethra will be discussed by Patrick Rodriguez. Now, the homeostasis and osmoregulation is one of the coolest and most important things that our body to do. It is to maintain this thing called homeostasis. Now, it is a regulation of a stable internal environment no matter where you are or what we are doing. Every single day, we are always adding food, liquid, and chemicals, and we are constantly changing temperature, but our bodies can roll with it. Like ureter, bladder, urethra. These four types, this four is the star of the homeostasis team. Like, they're the ones responsible for the homeostasis system. Now, the excretory system is responsible for maintaining the right levels of water and dissolved substances in your body, and this is called osmoregulation. Now, osmoregulation, and it's how our body gets rid of the stuffs we don't need. Make sure that we don't get dehydrated. So, osmoregulation is the one that helps us not to be dehydrated. So, a main byproduct of metabolizing food is ammonia. Ammonia, which comes from breaking down of proteins, and it's pretty toxic, and animals convert this to either urea or uric acid.
So today I am going to discuss about kidneys and nephrons. Kidneys are a pair of organs located in the back of the abdomen. Each kidney is about 4 or 5 inches long. The kidneys' functions are to filter the blood. All the blood in our bodies passes through the kidneys several times a day. They also remove waste, control the body fluids balance, and they regulate the balance of electrolytes. As the kidneys filter blood, they create urine, which collects in the kidney's pelvis. Each kidney contains around millions and billions of units called nephrons, each of which is microscopic filter for blood. Now I'm going to discuss about nephrons. Nephrons are tiny filtering structures in your kidneys. They remove excess water, waste, and other substances from your blood. But in return, they return substances like sodium, potassium, phosphorus whenever any of these substances run low in your body.
In the excretory system, the glomerulus is a small intertwined group of capillaries within nephrons of the kidney that filter the blood to make urine. Glomerular filtration is the renal process whereby fluid in the blood is filtered across the capillaries of the glomerulus. The formation of urine begins with the process of filtration. Fluid and small solutes are forced under pressure to flow from the glomerulus into the capsular space of the glomerular capsule. The Bowman's capsule. It's a cup-like sac at the beginning of the tubular component of a nephron in the mammalian kidney. It's a filtration unit of the glomerulus. Blood entering the glomerulus has filterable and non-filterable components. Filterable blood components include water, nitrogenous waste, and nutrients that will be transferred into glomerulus to form the glomerular filtrate. Non-filterable blood components include blood cells and platelets and remain in the article. Now we move over to the proximal convoluted tubule.
So for the last topic, I'll be discussing about the ureters, the bladder, and the urethra. So the ureters are tubes made of smooth muscle fibers that propel urine from the kidneys to the urinary bladder. So here are the ureters, and they propel urine from the kidneys going to the bladder. So the bladder is an organ that collects urine excreted by the kidneys before disposal by urination. So here is where the urine is stored, and the urethra, it is a tube that connects the urinary bladder to the urinary meatus for the removal of fluids from the body. So here's the urethra. As you can see, they are almost found in the same area, but there is actually a connection. And from the urethra, it will be secreted to the exterior. That is the urethra's job.
Hello everyone, I am Chef Rod and Rodriguez. Before we proceed, is there any questions that would you like to ask?
Sir.
Okay.
Sir, we wanted to know what are the different nutrients we can get from food.
In the food, we have molecules. Now, molecules makes all living things. They are called biological molecules. They are essential sources of energy. They are the means of source energy, and they serve as instructions. They are the ingredients for life, basically. We call them the carbohydrates, the lipids, the proteins, and the nucleic acids. Now, in my understanding, we only need to understand the most important things, which are carbohydrates, lipids, and the proteins. Now, the most basic is carbohydrates. They are the source of all energy that we have available to us. They are made of sugars. Simplest is monosaccharides. The carbohydrates, as I said earlier. And as I said, the monosaccharides. And the star of this topic, as to based on your question, is the glucose. What is glucose? It is the number one on the global food chain because it comes from the sun. Now, that process is called photosynthesis. Does it ring a bell?
Yes, sir.
Okay, photosynthesis is the process in which plants get from respiration. Now, in relation to the glucose, we have the fructose. Now, fructose is sweeter than the glucose, arranges differently. Now, in monosaccharides, there are disaccharides. These are two monosaccharides put together. Now, an example is sucrose. Sucrose is glucose plus fructose. Now, there is monosaccharides and disaccharides. Now, there is polysaccharides. What if there are more than two monosaccharides put together? Now, we call that polysaccharides. It can all be thousands of monosaccharides put together. An example of this is bread. Now, for example, this bread is made out of starch. And this carbohydrates is the short term on how we store energy. And carbohydrates is, as I said earlier, is the most basic in all of the three molecules. And the second molecule is lipids, which is the fats, which is the longer and the long-term way of storing energy, which will be discussed by Sean Janicio.
Or lipurin is the presence of lipids in the urine. Lipiduria is most frequently observed in nephrotic syndrome, where it passes the lipoproteins along. These are molecules that contain hydrocarbons and make up the building blocks of a structure and functioning. These are molecules that contain hydrocarbons and make up the building blocks of a structure and functioning of living cells. Lipids are not soluble in water. Fatty acids are long-chain carboxylic, which may or may not contain carbon-carbon double bonds. The number of carbon atoms, and almost always in even numbers, are usually trans fat are the one we must avoid. Lipids consist of. Lipids have mainly hydrocarbons in their composition and highly reduced forms of carbon. They are oxidized to release large amounts of energy and thus useful to living organisms. Where do lipids come from? Lipids are molecules that can be extracted from plants and animals and using non-polar solvents such as either chloroform or
Good afternoon. Today I will be discussing about proteins. What are proteins? Proteins are the building blocks of life. Every cell in the human body contains proteins. The basic structure of a protein is a chain of amino acids. Why do you need proteins in your diet? You need proteins in your diet to help your body repel cells and make new ones. Protein is also important for growth and development in children, teens, and pregnant women. Protein foods are broken down into parts called amino acids during digestion. The human body needs a number of amino acids in large enough amounts to maintain good health. Amino acids are found in animal sources such as meats, milk, fish, and eggs, but they are also found in plant sources such as soy, beans, legumes, and nut butters, and some grains. Note that you do not need to eat animal products to get all the protein you need in your diet. So, amino acids are classified into three groups. The first one is essential. Essential amino acids cannot be made by the body and must be supplied by food. They do not need to be eaten at one meal. The balance over the whole day is more important. The next one is non-essential amino acids. These are made by the body from essential amino acids or in the normal breakdown of proteins. And the last one is conditional amino acids. These amino acids are needed in times of illness and stress.
Okay, my seminar is about to end. Is there any more questions?
Sir, last question.
Oh, okay.
Are there any diseases related to excretory system? And if yes, what are the possible treatments we can do?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that question because I'm also gonna discuss about the different diseases that might affect the excretory system and the digestive system. So an example would be the kidney stone. The kidney stone these are small sized deposits of calcium and can be seen in the nephrons, in the kidneys, in exact. The stones could also increase or go down to urinary tract, causing extreme pain. The stone may also get infected, causing further set of complications. Now, what are the causes? Well, kidney stones, the main cause is change and increase in salt and mineral levels in the urine. This may later on cause of coagulation and increased size of stones. The other reason can be heredity. Now, treatments will be lots of fluids. Reduced size of stone tends to pass out of body without requiring any surgery. The treatment may consist of just taking lots of fluids so that the stones are washed down. In such cases, the fluid is collected for 24 hours continuously and examined in laboratory for presence of small stones. Painkillers may also be used for alleviation of pains for the patient. Now that is the kidney stones. Thank you.